Hello, everyone. It's George, and welcome to George's Movie Reviews, the show where you can come along and listen to me talk about my favourite films. And I've been watching all the Daniel Craig James Bond films, and I've just finished them, all of them. Now, I've been a huge James Bond fan my whole life. I used to sit at home with Nanny on a Sunday afternoon watching James Bond. And every time I was sick from school, we would put Roger Moore on, and he would cheer me up with his delightful British humour and his silly little eyebrow he did. He was brilliant, Roger Moore. And then Pierce Brosnan as well. They're my two favourites. So, when they first announced Daniel Craig, I was like, oh, okay. Not as good looking as Pierce Brosnan. I like Pierce Brosnan. Why can't we have Pierce Brosnan back? But I gave it a chance. I went to the cinema with my best friend, Mark Furtadus, who we're not friends anymore. But me and Mark Furtadus went to the cinema and watched Casino Royale, and I didn't like it because I was like, "Where's Pierce Brosnan? Where's Pierce Brosnan?" The whole time I kept saying it to Mark Furtadus, and Mark Furtadus kept going, "Shut up! I'm trying to watch the film." And I kept going, "No, I want Pierce Brosnan." He goes, "Shut up!" Anyway, yeah, and it was just really dark, there was no humour, very violent, and his girlfriend dies right at the end, like, just dies. Like, she could have survived. He could have got her out. But then it turns out she was just using him for some reason. She was very good at using him. Like, I really did believe they were in love. So I didn't like it. And I said, no, I don't like it, to Mark Furtadus. But then 2 years later, Quantum of Solace. I can't say it. Why they got to make a film where you can't say the title? It's silly. But anyway, they brought that out, and Mark Furtadus rung up again. And we went to see, Quantum of Solace. And it was just Jason Bourne, basically. He was just copying Jason Bourne, which I didn't mind, didn't mind. But yeah, and I left that. So I don't like Daniel Craig. I wish he was Pierce Brosnan. And Mark Furtadus said, I know you do. You keep going on about that. And then that's when our friendship kind of ended after that film. So yeah, I went home and thought, oh, I don't like Daniel Craig. But then 4 years later, Skyfall comes out. Skyfall, and it was kind of on the back of, I think it was heavily inspired by The Dark Knight. The villain. Anyway, the villain's very Joker. Same similar plot, him and Joker, but Javier Bardem, great actor, great villain, probably one of the best villains actually. I loved him. So I went to see Skyfall, not with Mark Furtadus. We weren't talking then, which is a shame. But I really enjoyed Skyfall, especially Judi Dench. Judi Dench, she was from the Pierce Brosnan era, and she carried through to Daniel Craig, and she had a great part in it. And watching Judi Dench, final film, she dies at the end. She was just brilliant, and I loved the ending. The whole ending of him. It was basically Home Alone. It was Home Alone because he goes back to his house where he used to live as a kid, and then he sets traps up. And it's got this old Scottish guy, Albert Finlay, brilliant actor. He could have been a James Bond back in the day. And yeah, he was great. Yeah, I loved the ending. And Javier Bardem, he came back in a helicopter. And there was a lot of fighting, really good fighting and action. And Daniel Craig's good at the stunts. He's very good. He's up there with Tom Cruise, I think, who's my second favourite James Bond. Oh, he's not James Bond, but he's spy guy, Anyway, so they bring Spectre out. Spectre comes out. couple of years later, bringing back Sam Mendes, who directed Skyfalls. Yeah, so I like Spectre. I thought, yeah, Spectre's nice. I'm glad. I like the fact they brought Blofeld back, because Blofeld was, they couldn't use him because there was a dispute back in the day. Basically, Ian Fleming and I think his name was Kevin McClory, they wrote a screenplay for Thunderball, but they didn't end up making Thunderball. So Ian Fleming wrote the book Thunderball, but they used all of Kevin McClory's ideas in the film, which were like Spectre. So Kevin McClory sued Ian Fleming and said, that's my characters in there, you piece of shit. And he won the rights to Thunderball and the rights to make a film, which they eventually did a few years later. They made Thunderball, which was the fourth Sean Connery film. And Thunderball is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Spectre was in it. And then, they carried on with Spectre for the next couple of films. You Only Live Twice. Donald Pleasant played Blofeld. Brilliant. And then on Her Majesty's Secret Service, the guy that was Kojak, he played Blofeld as well, with George Lazenby as the James Bond then, which is a classic. That's a great film. Watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So anyway, so he had the rights to that. They eventually, what was I saying? Yeah, so Spectre, they got the rights back. And they could use Blofeld in Spectre. And they kind of messed it up, really. I like Christopher Waltz. He's a great actor, and he did play it well. But he should have been bald. And why is he James Bond's brother? Blofeld's not James Bond's brother. That's just silly. Oh, I didn't like that. But overall, Spectre was fun. It had great action, really great action, and I enjoyed it very much. I went on my own to see that because, Mark definitely doesn't want to talk to me anymore. After I sent him that picture of my bum. I'll have to cut this out. Right. Anyway. No Time to Die. Yeah, we're getting to the movie review. Oh, I'm running out of time. Anyway, No Time to Die. Oh, the end of Daniel Craig's era. And you know what? I binged watched all of them again, and overall he is fantastic, James Bond. Casino Royale actually is, even though it's dark and depressing, it's a brilliant movie. Le Chiffre, Michael Mickelson. I'm not good at pronouncing names. He plays Le Chiffre, the baddie, and you know what? Absolute brilliant Bond. He's not your stereotypical man that wants to take over the world. He's got his own problems, he's got his problems, and you really feel the tension. They both need to win that poker game, and it is absolutely brilliant. And Quantum Solace, didn't like that because it's Jason Bourne. He still is, but it's a short one. It's a short, quick, fun film. So anyway, we get to No Time to Die. The last sort of Daniel Craig film. It's kind of, it felt a bit sad, end of era, and, Daniel Craig really did grow into the James Bond, he got his own style, brilliant actor, and just really good with the action sequences and stuff like that. He was just like, he could fight people and he could jump around on things. Very good at jumping around on things, So, it was kind of... So, and they bring back all the new Q. The new Q, he was great. He's fun. I like the new Q. I hope they keep him around. The new M, which is played by Ralph Fiennes now, he was great. He's a throwback to the original M. He's really good. Moneypenny, it felt more like a team up kind of film. This one, they all sort of teamed up. Very inspiration from the Mission Impossible films. Really, there's a team of the guys going on their missions, and James Bond has a baby in it. Not a baby, she's a toddler. He's got to look after her. They never did that before. He's retired, and there's a black lady who's taken over the 007 number. She's 007, which is great. I actually really like that character, and I thought there was good banter when Daniel Craig came back. There was a good banter between them all, so that really worked for me. And yeah, good action. Blofeld came back and kind of died really quickly, and you had Rami Malek. He was brilliant. He played a Doctor No. Yeah, throwback to the first Doctor No. So, and he was good. He was good in it, and it had the best James Bond island ending, where the villain has his own island and it's filled with baddies. Oh, you gotta love that in a James Bond in a James Bond movie. That's brilliant. Oh, I love, and yeah, Daniel Craig's running around with a gun and he's shooting loads of people. It's yeah, there's a lot of humour in it. He says a couple of when he kills someone, and then says something, like, oh, throws a knife at someone and they get stuck to a wall, and he's like, stick around, which I think Sean Connery made famous. So he says a couple of them ones. So yeah, and then the big ending. Spoiler alert. Yeah, he dies at the end. Which, yeah, but it doesn't matter, because if you can't really link up all the films. You can't say this is the same film as Sean Connery's, because Sean Connery's film came out in 1962, so it's definitely not this. It don't matter. James Bond's James Bond, and they got it right with No Time to Die and Skyfall, especially Skyfall. Skyfall's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's up there with the best. It's up there with the Golden Eyes. It's up there with the Goldfingers. It's up there with the On Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Spy Who Loved Me, The License to Kills. It's up there, and it's really great. All these James Bonds and all their different styles, and whatever mood you're in, you can pick a James Bond film and just enjoy it. And I think Daniel Craig's run as James Bond has been really good, and I really like him. He's up there. He's not my favourite. Pierce Brosnan's the favourite, but good thing about Daniel Craig is his action, and I like the way they all sort of kind of linked up all the stories from all the films. The Casino Royale ended, and then Quantum of Solace took over. It was like a straight sequel, and then Skyfall incorporated, a lot of ideas from the other films, and and I like the fact they had a new Q. Q was great. Moneypenny, Naomi Harris, she was a great Moneypenny, and yeah. So Daniel Craig's era is definitely an 8 out of 10. No Time to Die, I'll give it a 7. It's not up there with Skyfall. And yeah, so go watch it. George's review, I'm giving it all a thumbs up. Have a nice day. George out.